It's your Hump Day.
Hump Day, yeah!
High Noon Atlanta radio show for the entrepreneurs to the small business owners and nonprofit organizations hang out for their opportunity to be on the ledge. Now, let's welcome your host, Carl Callender.
Welcome, everybody. This is Carl Callender with On the Ledge VIP. How y'all doing today? Hey, I got a great guest here today. His name is Harold Alexander, and he has several companies, but today we're going to be talking with him about his app that he just put together called Underground App. It's supposed to help artists and this unsigned, unknown talent to get their information and get their creativity out to everybody else. How you doing today, Harold?
Oh, man, it's a blessing to be here. I'm doing great. Thank you.
Cool. Let's start off with this, man. We've known each other for about a little bit over a year now, so right. I know you're a straight tech guy.
Straight tech, yeah.
Straight tech guy. And just tell us a little bit about your background real quick before we dive in on the Underground App.
All right. I am originally from Florence, South Carolina. Came to Atlanta in, I won't tell you the year, to reveal my age, but I came to Atlanta quite a few years ago, and went to DeVry to study engineering, graduated with a bachelor's in engineering, electronic engineering, and after that I went to work as an engineer. And I did worked as an engineer for a few years. And then I graduated, went to work for myself. So I started my own company. First, we were doing networking, selling computers and networking them together. And then we started doing more client-server networks. And then that eventually went into WAN and then cloud. And I do mostly medical stuff. So I set up, mostly medical doctor's offices and things like that. And I did that for a few years. And then after a few years of doing that, I kind of wanted to do more software stuff. So I started writing software applications for, again, medical facilities. And then I started doing things for myself. And nice. I had the idea of Underground years ago. We'll get into that a little later. But and then after I started doing apps for myself and software applications for myself, I started building Underground. So that's kind of a snippet of my little background.
Cool. So let's talk about the total. So how many years would you say that you've been in the tech industry?
Probably right after I graduated. So close to 30.
30 years.
Yeah.
So I would say you're pretty experienced on that.
Pretty much, yeah.
Pretty much on that? Okay, cool. So let's do this here. So tell us about Underground App. How did that come about? And just give us the start of it, and just dive in a little bit for me.
Okay. So I'll kind of start from the beginning. So I was in Buckhead. I'm not sure, Carl, if you remember Buckhead back in the day when it was all clubs. It's now Tripsy now. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah. I remember hopping around. Buckhead was the place to be.
Yeah, exactly. So back in the day, Buckhead used to be just a bunch of clubs hanging out, and everything. And so I was out there. It was a nice summer night, me and some of my boys. And one of my close friends comes up to me and he says, "Hey, did you hear?" And I said, "No." He said, T.I. just got signed. And I said, "Who's T.I.?"
That's what you said. Who's T.I.?
I said, "Who's T.I.?" Yeah. And he said, "Oh, T.I. is just underground rapper." And I said, "I've never heard of him." And he said, "Well, you're not plugged into the underground scene, so that's why you probably never heard of him." So it was at that point. I didn't realize when this happened, but it was in 1999 when that happened.
Right.
And I, at that moment, said that I should come up with something that would connect everybody with the whole underground scene so that you will be able to see and get exposed to artists that are up and coming in your area, and not be like I was, that was completely in the dark when a new artist pops up and you've never heard of them before.
Right.
So I sat on it for a while. This was in '99, so it was quite a few years ago. And I sat on it, and then part of me thought someone was going to go ahead and build it. And then so I was like, okay, well. And then I was telling people, periodically through the years, I'd say, hey, I had this idea called Underground, and they said, oh my God, that's a great idea. You should really do it. And I'm like, yeah. And so I just dismissed it for about 3 or 4 years, and then I'd say it again, and then someone would say something, and then the opportunity arose where everything lined up, and so I just started building it, and I worked on it for 2 years.
For 2 years?
2 years building it, yeah.
Okay, so let me get this right. So you had the idea back in '99, but you didn't start on it until 2017.
Basically, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So between those years that you had that idea to 2017, did you still feel that you wanted to do that, or did you just forgot about it? What happened?
It was kind of coming and going. It was the idea would come and hit me, and then I'd say, oh yeah, I really need to do that, and then I'd get really busy, and then I've written a couple of apps, and they was taking up a lot of time because I had to write them all and promote them and get them out to people and make sure they were working and update them and everything. So it was taking a lot of time. My time was kind of being diverted elsewhere.
Okay.
So I kept putting it on the back burner. I just said, I'll do it later. And there was a period of time where I just forgot about it.
Okay.
And then it would just pop up. And then one day I just remember going to this club, and I saw this artist perform.
Okay.
And believe it or not, I can't remember the name of the artist, but it was a husband and wife, and they did R&B.
Right.
And the wife sung and the husband played the guitar, I believe is what it was.
Were they good?
They were great. They were great.
Okay.
And and then I was just like, they never made it. They never got big. They never got a contract. And they were literally, she had this one song called, I think called That's What My Mama Said. And it was like really, I can still remember the hook in my head, and I haven't heard it in probably like 10 years. And it was like one of the hottest songs I think I've ever heard. It was very uplifting, very, gifted song. And so yeah, I heard that, and then she inspired me. Her and her husband inspired me to kind of do it, and so I kind of clamped down and I tried to work on it. Then I got busy again, and then so. But yeah, it was off and on. But I get inspiration from when I see an artist that I really love and that I really think needs to be exposed, need to get exposure. So,
well, yeah, I understand that because I know there's a lot of artists out there with great talent. Matter of fact, I could honestly say there's probably so many unsigned, unknown artists that are so talented. We should be hearing them on the mainstream, but we don't. But that's just part of the music industry.
Exactly.
So as far as with your app, Underground, how will that actually help the artist?
Well, so Underground is going to be set up to where there's not going to be any signed artists on. So no major mainstream artists are going to be on our platform.
Okay.
That's going to be the first thing. So when you go on to Underground, the only thing you're going to be seeing is undiscovered artists.
Well, they're going to be upset, right?
They will be. They will be.
They're going to be upset.
They will be. When Underground blows up, yeah, they'll probably be a little. I'll get some feedback. I'll get some pushback on that, but I'm trying to prepare myself for that. But yeah, so no mainstream artists, no signed artists. And then I wanted to diversify a little bit. So in order to get the maximum amount of exposure, I thought that I probably should not have just a straight music straight music. So that's when I added film, comedy, and spoken word to it. So because even though music is when I say underground, people immediately think music, right? They think okay, music, but underground scene is way more than just music. There are a ton of independent filmmakers that are out there. I've seen some incredible films.
Oh yeah, this is Black Hollywood right here.
Yeah, exactly.
ATL, Black Hollywood. Let's do it.
Exactly. So I have seen a ton of independent films that I've really, really enjoyed, and so I added that into it. So underground is now film, comedy, spoken word, and music, and I feel like with our technology, we'll be able to get the artists much more exposure because they won't. There's not a platform like this. It's a social media platform,
right?
So you would go on, and how we're doing is that we're actually connecting the artists and the fan using artificial intelligence, and I'm going to kind of explain to you how that works. So right now, if you want to see an artist, most of the time people discover their undiscovered artists on streaming music,
right?
But the problem with that is they're kind of randomly handing you off music. Like, so if you're listening to a let's say a Drake, for an example, they're going to hand you like a random, almost hip hop artist or a random type of artist. But on underground, we're not going to really do that. So what we're basically going to do is you go onto our site. The artist will go on first. They'll fill out their profile. We'll create like this, I guess I call it a digital fingerprint of the artist. And then when the fan comes on, we ask some fans some specific questions. And then based on those questions, based on their locations and some other parameters, we will match that artist with match that fan with specific artists in their area. So if you, for an example, if you're a fan of a certain type of film, then you're going to get only those types of film, and then you can also add music to that. And then the cool thing about artificial intelligence is if your taste change, then your feed will change too.
Nice. So that's pretty much like what Facebook is doing.
Right. Yeah, it's a social media type feel. So it has that, but we're doing it more on the entertainment side.
On the entertainment side, okay. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm curious on how, like for the film, how are you going to do that? I understand the music side, I understand the comedy, but the film, how's that going to interact?
Well, that's a good question. So how we're going to basically do film is actually going to be the easiest one to do.
Okay.
Because film has a way more they have way more of a description of them. So film can go into a lot of different type of dynamics. Like, there's action, and then there is, there's a different type of comedy, and then and when you break them up into genres, you can go deeper into those genres more so with film than with music or even comedy. So, like I'll give you like an example. Let's say John Wick, for an example. John Wick is a great film.
I love John Wick.
Yeah, John Wick is really cool. Just came out. Yeah. I haven't seen it yet. I gotta go
I gotta check that out too. Well, you know what? Someone told me that I need to go see one. I skipped over one.
That's right. You got to see one. One John Wick was cool. But so John Wick, if you break it up into different categories, you can do action. There is, drama that's built into it, and there's, a number of fight scenes that go along with it. So you can chop a film up into so many different categories, and then the more categories you have, the easier it is to use an AI type formula to match people, whereas with music you don't have as many categories in one song that you can chop it up into. So film is actually going to be the easiest one to match people with. So that's how we're going to do it. We're going to look at a film. So if a filmmaker uploads a movie that they've done, what we'll basically do is we'll analyze that film, analyze their description of the film, create a persona of that particular artist in that film, and then we'll match them based on that. So it'll be pretty straightforward with movies.
Okay. Now, when you say we, or you plan on building a team behind Underground App to help you out, how's that going to work?
Yeah, I definitely plan on doing a team. Right now, it's just me. I'm doing all of the coding. I'm doing all the marketing. I got people helping me. I got a marketing company that's helping me do some of my marketing. Okay. But yeah, it's just right now, it's just me. So I'm going to be, once we fully launch, we're kind of in, beta slight mode right now where we're getting ready to launch. But I'm going to start getting some people like a cloud developer to come on, maybe another Java developer to help. But I plan on building a team out hopefully before